All right, we are back with session number 4 tonight on our DJN live chat time. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us there. The link that you'll find in the description will take you to show 4, which is on YouTube, where you can ask questions or chat. We can't follow the Facebook Live thing. I need to remember to mention it a couple of times during the show because there's people who jump in like 2 minutes in, 5 minutes in, and then I forget all about them. So if I forget you, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. We don't have to tuck kids in tonight, guys, because it's summer break and they're out doing their thing, and it means that Dad can be a big person and stay up past 9 o'clock at night. I don't stay up past 9 o'clock too often because I'm old. Basically, if it's Wednesday night, I'm out. If it was last Wednesday night, I was out.
No. You were doing a post at like 2 a.m. on Thursday.
Thursday night, yeah, because I was waiting in the hospital bed there. It's like, come on. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of surgeries to begin with. I mean, that's just not a pleasant thing. But here, it's like, okay, they send you down. They're like, yeah, you should be able to get in and get this done by 9 o'clock. It's like, okay, get it done by 9 o'clock. They say it's a quick surgery. You might be home by 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm good with that. Yeah. Well, I get down there. Well, maybe 10 o'clock we'll get to you. Maybe 11. Maybe 2:30 is when they finally came to get me. So yeah.
You want to fill everybody in why you're talking about hospital? I don't know if a lot of people realize.
Yeah, if you guys don't follow.
Section.
What's that?
You got
liposuction. That's right. Actually, what ended up happening is after Tuesday night, last Tuesday night, we do Brian Red and I do a music show and then kind of a question show. And what he talked about in our question and answer, someone talked about the gig, and we ended up getting onto gig health stage health. The idea that basically when I'm on stage, if I'm sick, those of us who've been doing this for a while, we can be sick as a dog, but we can come get on stage and we're going to put on a performance. We're going to make it so that no one knows we're sick as a dog and be, looking like we're up there and healthy and everything's great. And then once we're done, we're probably going to die right over here. But the show will go on. So we finished up Tuesday night and everything was fine. Later that night, I ended up what turned out to be appendicitis. It started and hit me about between midnight and 3 in the morning is when it really kicked in by 3. So from Wednesday morning at 3 until it would be Friday morning at almost 3 o'clock when I finally got the appendix out. It was a miserable 48 hours. So that meant that this weekend I was really, really slow. Saturday I could barely talk because of them having to put the tubes down here. Yeah, Friday I sounded terrible. It sounded definitely terrible. So I'm glad that's over. It's been, as I mentioned to a few folks, that's been a fear of mine, an irrational fear that I would be at a DJ convention and this would happen. Here I would be sitting out there in Atlantic City and all of a sudden it's like, like it doesn't happen to everybody, but I figured that if it was going to happen, that would happen at the worst possible time. So yeah, that's what it was. It was appendicitis, and I can't lift anything. I feel better now, but it's like, make sure your pop is half empty before you start. Okay. So that was my weekend, guys. Thanks for.
Well, John, I will say this: you look great, and you don't look like you just had surgery. 4 days ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah, I've got the marks down there, and it's the interesting thing.
The
interesting part about this, and this is, we talk about trying to be healthier and live, and you've got guys like Randy Bartlett who have done some amazing things with his gastric bypass and then his working out and changing his diet, and that's something we all strive for is to live a healthier life. Well, with a situation like this is I didn't eat anything basically from Tuesday on until really Saturdays when I started could eat something. And it's like, maybe it's time that I use this opportunity because now I can change my diet. It's like I'm off sugar to almost completely after 3 days of nothing. And it's like, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to watch what I eat a little bit more and kind of keep a better regulation on that and see what happens because, I find myself as I'm trying to play with the kids and such, and we're way off topic, but that's part of us. It's our show. We can do this. I find it's tougher for me at 47 to be able to keep up with the kids. Now I've got teenage boys who want to go out and play basketball, and Dad at 248 pounds doesn't move as well as Dad at 220 pounds or whatever. So It's like I've got a kickstart, we'll call it, and now it's just a question of eating smarter, eating appropriate portions. A 12-inch pizza is not a single serving pizza. I guess. I don't know. I thought it was.
Only if you ate only 8 pieces and not 12 pieces.
Oh, well, see, I was doing it wrong.
And that makes me feel bad now, John, because literally when you were going into surgery, I was sitting down for a pancake breakfast at 2 a.m. Again, said, let's all go out to eat. I'm eating pancakes and everything. I'm like, wait, John's going into surgery.
Yeah, finally, yeah. So it was quite. Yeah, I watch what I eat. I watch every bite. Yeah, I do too. I think that's one of the gifts I have from my family is that we love food. We love to not only cook, but we love to eat. I've always wondered at some of these stick thin people who are like, oh, I'll take those 3 sprigs of parsley there, and I'll be way too full. It's like, oh wow, there's a box of donuts. Okay, so what am I going to chase that down with? That bag of cookies.
That is a lie, John, because I know for a fact women I've dated, they're like, I just want a small salad. And then they go home and glaze a ham. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, fitness of the whole pizza in my mouth. That's what I've lived with. And
my friend Kevin always used to say, I love exercise. I could watch other people do it all day.
Yeah,
I thought it said extra fries, not exercise.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm the guy who would, when McDonald's had their back in Minnesota when it gets cold enough, the McDonald's would have their Big Macs for whatever the second Big Mac was whatever the temperature was from the day before or something like that. I was the guy in college when they would do that kind of stuff, or actually in the late 80s and early 90s, after the first of the year, you could get the Big Mac for whatever the price was for the corresponding year. So it was 1992. I was in college. You could get a Big Mac for 92 cents. Well, that's $5 for $1 for me. And
Dang, son.
If you've got $5 for $1, that's like a meal and a snack. Yeah.
Dang.
But back then I had a metabolism where I could do that, and now it's like you don't have that anymore. So. Oh yeah, I know. 99-cent Whoppers are killers, man. Because I now that I like tomatoes as a big boy, I will eat tomatoes and onions and those things. And yeah, back in the day, wouldn't eat those nasty tomato things.
So you got more veggies in your system now. It's okay.
I do, and I have been working on that. If you guys have seen me at conventions, there's times where I'll still eat some of the, but when Mobile Meat was at the Riviera, there's that little stand there, and you could grab a fruit cup there. And at DJ Expo, that was probably my worst eating there, and that would be going to White House Sub because, well, it's White House Sub.
Healthy eating compared to me. I mean, that's healthier than the frozen burritos, so that's a step up for me.
Yeah, and they're it's White House Subs. I mean, let's face it. If you guys had never been there.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, he's posting right after he came out of surgery. Can someone please deliver me a White House Sub? I'm not kidding you.
I don't know what it was, man. It's like, ooh, that would be great. And ironically, I had a couple of people offer, but they just didn't know where they were. Are they in St. Cloud? I'd get you one. No, they're not. There's only 3 of them, I think, in the world, and 2 in New Jersey, and I don't even know if the California one's still open. So, yeah, fruit cup, Jimmy. That's right. I will go and I will eat one of those things that have the melons in it and the strawberries. I did a whole Mobile Beat where basically it was that. I think I had fruit cups during the day, a breakfast one, a lunch one, and then we would go out for dinner, and that was my whole diet. I told my wife, or told Lori that year, I ate better at Mobile Beat than I eat at home as far as eating better quality food, because I would go out and did chicken salad, or as far as a chicken Caesar salad type of a thing. I ate like a responsible person at Mobile Beat. It was incredible. See, I've never had a White Castle burger.
I don't like them because to me they taste like meatloaf. It's a meatloaf burger to me is what it tastes like.
Oh, see, now meatloaf.
I can do me a White Castle burger. Oh.
Meatloaf, so
a good meatloaf. Now that's something that doesn't happen. Now I grew up on meatloaf. My parents, we had a farm, and so we have beef. So you get every time. You'd have meatballs that had the rice in it. I'm sure there's a name for it, but that happened, and meatloaf happened, and anything else they could do with hamburger, because you had so much. Well, my wife doesn't like meatloaf. Lori's completely anti-meatloaf. So if it's hamburger and it's got breadcrumbs in it, you might as well throw that thing right out to the dogs because she won't touch it. And it's like, but it's good. It's got crackers and onions and ketchup and it's nummy. So we've been married as of yesterday, 23 years, and I think I have had meatloaf once, and I made it.
I seriously think you should have pulled the sick card and made her make you some. Yet another reason why I'm single.
I should have. I didn't think about pulling that card. I did use the sick card for other things, but not for.
Didn't think ahead. What's the big ticket items in your life?
What am I gonna play that? Use that card with? Oh yeah, the anti-meatloaf thing. But now that we have children and such, I want to introduce them to it because the stuff they do in school that isn't no. But oh well. Okay, well we got way off topic here.
It was sort of one of our topics that we want to talk about. What do you do when you're sick?
Yeah.
Or what happened?
Well, you guys kick out Shaney and bring in the Mexican, all hell goes loose.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, so as long as Juan is here and we're talking food, when we, meaning like guys like us, the three of us, are making tacos, we go get a packet of taco seasoning. Okay, a lot of us get a packet of taco seasoning.
What's a packet of taco seasoning?
What's making a taco? What's that mean?
Yeah, so MJ would either go to a store and get one, or if there's a microwavable one, he's got it. Probably Dan and I in our households, it's brown the hamburger, mix in the taco seasoning, water, and there we go. Now, Juan, a year and a half ago, he shared that he doesn't, what's taco packets, and he makes it a legit thing. Now, the difference is when Juan, it's like, okay, so what's the recipe? And Juan, do you have a recipe?
Not really. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, nope.
I can't lie.
Yeah, so
you put a little bit and then you taste it. That's how I do it.
So that's one of the little, we're talking food and such. It's like, Juan, we'd love to know what that is. And he gave me kind of a breakdown of what he puts in it. We tried it and it didn't turn out, I don't think, as well because it wasn't made with the love that Juan makes his things with. But
I forgot the sweat up my forehead usually goes in there too.
Oh, thanks for that. Now that just made me really want to try a taco on it.
I bet that happens every day at Taco Bell, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, worse. So, guys, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back into our topics tonight, because we're going to start off talking about celebrity DJs, and this was a big weekend for one, so we'll be right back.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Top Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
Okay, we are back from our break. Those are the sponsors for our DJN TV Summer 2016 show. So if you are looking for speakers and lights and you want different options and different music and whatever, please show our sponsors some love, because without their support, things like this would not happen. It was nice to see when we went for break that you guys all ran out and got junk food. I'm really feeling the support. I'm just saying. What was this? There was things with healthy. There's tacos. Or somebody just drove out to a taco place and someone's going to go microwave a... I'm going to go eat my carrots when I'm done with this. I hope you know. I'll put a picture of it online. Okay, so this past weekend was a big weekend in Las Vegas. I mean, one of the biggest DJs might have just launched her career. The one and only Mariah Carey this past weekend was at the, what was it, the One Oak? Was that it? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
The One Oak. It's a little lounge inside the Mirage Hotel. If you've ever been there, there's a nice sized dance floor, and you can go. There's a link. We'll share the link a little later. There's some different video clips. If you go on Instagram and search it, you'll find a lot of videos that were shot there, because that's pretty much it. No one dances anymore. They just stand there and say, "Oh, look, Juan at the club." Click and Instagrammed him. That's what we do. We don't actually dance or talk. We just Instagram.
It takes any picture of me.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that, but that's about that. You had the legs for it. You were talking about.
I got a shower.
You got to use your outfit more often.
So right
tonight, you guys will be seeing an outfit, picture of me in an outfit. So.
Oh boy! So Mariah Carey has been there. Now, yeah, Ian mentions Paris. We'll
get there.
We'll get there. Before we start digging into it, our thoughts on it, and talking a little bit about what we've seen, let's jump into some of those celebrities who have made the transition or stepped behind the decks. Let's say it that way.
I have, me, Mr. Do too much research. I did a research on to see how many celebrities DJ, and you're going to be surprised by some of these, because some of these I didn't even know. And some of them you may not call celebrities, but I do. So we're going to run down a list, and we first are going to take a look at the people who kind of do it more as a hobby than getting paid. Mariah fell into the paid thing because obviously I'm going to guess she's making money.
Yep.
So let's look down the list here. All right, first up, Justin Timberlake used to, before he, got big, DJ, and apparently still plays around with it a little bit. So I thought I didn't know that about him.
And I could see him being a solid performer just because of his skill set. Very talented man.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Next, if I can get this thing to...
Yep, I'm just going to center it so we have... There we go.
There we go. Alicia Keys. She DJs actually under the name of AK-47. Of course, Alicia Keys, her initials, AK. So she actually does DJ under that name, and there is actual live picture of her DJing somewhere. Next one, I cannot pronounce the guy's name to save my life. Idris Elba. He was in the movie Pacific Rim and a couple other ones. Apparently, he DJs quite often. Mm-hmm. The next one is the only one on this entire list that I would share a DJ booth with. In fact, I would share a DJ booth with her anytime. Michelle Rodriguez. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
I'm saying too.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the bracelet. That's a very attractive bracelet, and I'm sure that would make her a very nice person.
I'm just laughing at the fact that people always bust about the fact that laptops are like in people's face, and that's like taller than she is.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's what you get when you do a 17-inch screen with a 4-foot woman. No, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know how tall she is. She's pretty. I don't know how she DJs. Again, these are people that I'm saying that more or less do it as a hobby and not trying to make a living off of it. Like some of the other people we're going to mention later. Okay, the next one, I didn't know this. And again, more names I cannot pronounce. She is the show Orange is the New Black. Is it Taryn Manning? Is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She is known to DJ fundraisers for places. So she goes out and volunteers that for fundraisers and stuff, which I thought was kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. Next up is the man himself, Tommy Lee, which I'm sure many of you seen him do things over the years. He also DJs with a DJ called DJ Arrow, and from what everybody says, Arrow does all the work, but I don't know. Tommy's another one. If you look around in the world of DJs who actually, DJ and scratch everything, most of them started out as drummers when they were younger. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you could just ask people. There's so many friends of mine who DJ. They were like, yeah, I played drums when I was younger. Yeah. See, Dan's raising his hand. Yep. Juan's raising his hand. I played in high school, all through high school. So it must be something about that whole rhythm thing. But he was in there. And also the last one that I did not know about in her early days, Lady Gaga.
Huh.
I could see that one, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they
I
did.
also see it with all the different talents she has and instruments, knowledge she has. Why she wouldn't play with that and have fun with it, and she did. I don't know if she's done anything recently, but this was prior to her becoming famous. So, all right, next, go ahead.
One that these are the ones that do and have a level of skill, correct? And now we're going to get into the wannabes.
No, because there are other ones that have a level of skill, but these are just the ones that don't necessarily do it paid. They do it for fun or whenever they can get out. Stuff like that.
Gotcha,
the next you will find them doing headliners and you will see them on flyers and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. Obviously Mariah Carey, she now hits that list. Next one is a surprise to me. And before I show the picture, I'm going to tell you his DJ name is DJ Danger. Okay. I'm not kidding. DJ Danger makes money, but you know him as Joe Jonas. True story.
I feel like I heard that one once.
Yeah, I didn't know that one. The next one we all know, somebody mentioned, Miss Paris Hilton.
Yep.
Made a lot of money. The next one I did not know about, but Dan, he's on the other side of the state from us, and apparently he DJs a lot of clubs out there. From Johnny Kate Plus 8, Jon Gosselin. I did not know that, but apparently he does a lot of clubs on the eastern side of Pennsylvania.
That came out post, I think, the divorce.
Yeah, I agree.
When suddenly he was like, I've got to do something. I'm going to cash in on my name as quickly as I can. And that's when that came about.
Yeah. So what we do for a living is easy cash then, apparently.
Obviously, yeah. Especially if we have a name.
The next one, this guy actually, more than DJs, he put on a whole tour based around the TV show he's on. A DJ tour and a DJ event, I guess you would call it, like a festival. Again, another name I cannot pronounce, but from the Game of Thrones, it's Kristana Narayan. I don't know how to pronounce names. I'm horrible with names from Game of Thrones. But he puts on a whole tour about that, and it's this whole Game of Thrones theme thing. That's him up there with the lighting. That's all part of that stage thing that they do for it's like a mini festival, but it's all Game of Thrones themed, I guess.
Sure.
Next one I did not know about, but and apparently everybody else did. Elijah Wood. And I've been told from what I read, he has an extremely eclectic choice of music. He isn't like, just into house or whatever. He will pull out songs that make you go, what? That sort of thing. The next guy you probably knew about, and I know about because he comes to this town all the time because he's a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he comes in and he'll be doing it in July or August. I can't remember which now, where he comes in and does a regular show and then DJs at a club after the show. And that's Snoop Dogg. He's known as DJ Snoopadelic. He goes by. So he will be doing, in fact, I just saw the flyers for it. After his show, he's going to do a local club here in Pittsburgh as Snoopadelic. But he's done it before too. Next one you might have heard of that he did it. I don't know. It's been a long time. I haven't heard of him doing anything recently. And that is Macaulay Culkin. A while back, how he's been in and out of rehab and stuff like that. He actually, true story, right before he went into rehab one time, had a show booked for some famous person's birthday party. Couldn't make it because he was going into rehab. Went to them and gave them his iPod, saying, "I can't make it to the party. Here's my iPod."
Oh my!
Story.
They're the same thing, right? Hey.
It's the same thing. But I don't know if he's still doing it. This was several years ago. Whether he's still, it's probably like the Gosselin guy. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was pursuing it straight up. The next one everybody knows, but I do want to say something first, is DJ Pauly D. Everybody busts on him, but they forget that he was a DJ before he got famous. Stayed at the under 21 clubs and stuff where he lived. He didn't start it after he became famous. He was doing it before he became famous. And he was so famous. This is how famous he was. You ready?
How famous was he?
Sounds like a setup, man.
And it is a setup. I'm trying to really just obnoxiously set it up. But in 2010, a certain person on this show found themselves DJing at a large club on Halloween night, and they decided to dress up as DJ Pauly D. That was my costume in 2010. DJ Pauly D.
Only thing that would be better is if he actually showed up too.
I tried to do the ducky face. The manager was mad at me. He goes, "You should have told me you were dressing like that. We would have put it on the flyer." I'm like, really? Okay, that's interesting. But
funny.
There's my shares for the celebrities, and there's quite a list there. If you want me to bring them up later, let me know. But feel free to discuss amongst yourselves.
The interesting one that I didn't know who did spinning. Now he didn't DJ outside of his own abode, but talking with Mike Holtz when we did the Prince tribute, is that Prince was very accomplished with the turntables.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend of mine who is a studio guru, like an incredible studio guy. He custom builds microphones all over the world, and he worked with Prince in the studio. And he said, "You think the man's talented until you work next to him, and he's an absolute freaking genius. He makes geniuses look dumb with what he knows musically." So there's no doubt in my mind that Prince couldn't just pick anything up and do it.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, so let's jump into Mariah Carey. If you guys have gotten a chance to check some of the videos out, I spent a little time looking at the videos. First off, if you had a chance to check out the video of the paparazzi taking the picture before she went in, because she performed did a concert before, and then this was the after party over at the One Oak. She's up there and she's staging, and because she basically went pantsless, which of course is how I DJ most of the time, but I never had the paparazzi taking pictures like that.
I'm pantsless now.
That would be something to take. No, that would seriously be something to take pictures of and put on the internet.
But the pictures and such. I mean, the picture we took of that was on the thumbnail was one of the more calm, we'll call it, because some of the others were a little more risque and what have you, or a little more scandalous. But yeah, that was the big thing, is that she was all dressed up there, and basically showing in the front and the back, and it was an interesting. You guys, I don't know if you caught Shaney's we post kind of some show notes earlier in the day so we can talk about them during the day and get ready for the night. And Shaney was in the discussion today, and I really feel for her, and when Lori was DJing and such, that so many people basically, if in order to be a DJ, they have to sexualize it so much that they have to, be that showing cleavage, and they have to be doing, it's like a completely different standard. I mean, when was the last time that they asked you to show cleavage at an event?
I do it all the time.
That's true, you do. Well, Dan. But it's really a different standard. And even when we talked to a DJ Kilma from Canada up there, and we've had that conversation a little bit with her, is there is such a different standard, because she's doing some club things where they're going out and they're doing some mini tours, and there's a different level of expectation. They're not unless they're eye candy, they're probably not going to take the stage, even if they are an accomplished DJ to a point, until they've gotten the ability to show. And it's like, well, how can they show their skill if you won't let them on a stage because they're not showing skin?
Are we running a family show or not, John? Are we like a PG?
We're like PG. We've already swore, and we've already had Juan's made some. Yeah, that was her attire up on the stage. And when that picture was taken, when she turned and did that, if you watch the Instagram video, I mean, it was like the best strobe light you've ever had going on. It was almost constant, and that was all done by flashes from the photographers, which were 10, 12, 15 deep, 30 wide. It was incredible, the amount of people who were there to take pictures of her.
I now know what DJ I'm dressing like for Halloween this year. Seriously, the year that I picked Pauly D, I was trying to figure out how I could dress like Lady Gaga that year. But I was just like, I just don't know if I can pull it off or want to pull it off. I had a friend of mine, she was like, "No, I'll help you. Come on."
So the videos I saw, now guys, and maybe you've seen something else or you've heard something else, that was a DJ Seuss was with her. And I saw some things where Seuss was out doing his thing. I didn't see her actually touching anything beyond the microphone, and she was doing a little singing along to it. And I don't know, maybe you guys have heard something different to that. And if that is indeed the case, I guess it really gives me a level of disappointment. I would hope that she would have at least done the pretend to turn the knobs and the woo woo thing. But
I think this is perfectly ties into our last week's show about the DJ competition having no DJs in it at the Atlantic City Expo, to where that has become where people go, oh, that must be a DJ, where they don't actually DJ. And now you have celebrities doing nothing. They're not DJing and calling themselves a DJ, just like the Expo's competition.
Yeah,
So,
and that's why I made the
on us. Blame it on us now.
Yeah, and that was why I made the reference to that she was behind the deck. She wasn't. I didn't see her touching equipment, which doesn't mean she didn't.
The article that we were reading up on it talked about, like, the only thing I heard was playing like 3 songs. Now I don't know. I mean, like, they specifically mentioned the 3 songs. I have to go back and check the article for what they were, but yeah. And my thought was, did she do this and then that again? You know, like just basically hit and play and nothing more, or was she attempting anything? Yeah.
You would only know if you're back there, because I because of the competitions and stuff I always go and watch, my mind and eye catches everything that DJs do. And you wouldn't believe how many times I walk into a club and watch a DJ pretend to mix, and he's not mixing, just not at all. He has a mix in, and he's pretending to mix the whole night. And I just walk up to him and go, hey, you know, there is another deck on the other side that works. You know, and then he'll look at me and I'll walk away. And a few minutes later, he tries to mix a little bit. Yeah.
You know, just watching the chat there to see what the guys are talking about. Yeah.
About Nick Cannon too. I heard about him, and there was a couple other ones, but I just kind of picked the main ones.
Yeah, for sure.
By this point, everybody's a DJ. Who that kind of takes us into the second part that we want to talk about tonight, John. You know what makes you a DJ? Mm-hmm. And can you call yourself a DJ? Yeah,
this past week, Digital DJ Tips had an article. Their question was, when can you start to call yourself a DJ? And they had interviewed a few people and talked about that concept. You know, was it when what does it take?
Is it when you first open up DJ software? I'm reading this from them. Is it when you buy a controller or turntable? Is it when you played your first public show? Is it the first time you got paid? Or is it the first time that you had a major DJ fail in front of an audience? Which makes you an official DJ?
What are your thoughts, Juan?
My thought was, well, for me, it was when I first got paid, when I was actually getting paid for doing what I do.
That's what I consider mine. 1989, Hawaiian luau at the local YMCA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would agree, but for myself, it was, I practiced DJing, and I was practicing this and practicing these, but until there was actually money on the table. But then I never did a bunch of free ones in advance, I need to just get some experience. So I started doing some free things out there.
Do you get that one?
No, I'm going to let it go.
Okay,
voicemail.
For me, I got into it through radio, so I called myself a DJ before I actually got into the mobile aspect. So it was a little different in that part. But my viewpoint, I view it before it ever gets to the money. Just from the terminology behind it, disc jockey, we're playing the music, we're doing it. I think it takes more than just having an equipment sitting in your room to do it, and more than just, can I press play? I think it becomes a moment where there's confidence enough in yourself that you're going to say, I understand this. Mm-hmm. I think we can get ourselves, we get in a lot of trouble with that philosophy. There's a lot of people who probably shouldn't call themselves DJs that would fit under that philosophy, but I don't think it ever becomes the money. That takes you to a different classification of DJ, but just from its title alone, my thought is it's when you're confident enough to say, I can play music and go from song to song, I'm a DJ. Now, maybe I'm not a beat mixer, maybe I'm not a turntablist, maybe I'm not insert your favorite style there, but that's my 2 cents.
iPhone, good news, you're a DJ.
Oh my goodness, am I going to have to pull out a picture? Continue talking. I have 2 of them that are going to blow your mind. Remember, like I said, I've been doing this since 1989. So I've seen so much crap. So continue talking while I find where this freaking picture's at.
Yeah, it's a tough. Dan, you coming from a radio station world, I wonder if because of you coming from that and having that name already attached to you, even though you would have a different perspective because you were a DJ just from over here. Compared to not one, you didn't come from a radio background. You and I basically, we started as mobile DJs. And for us, we would have, our first being known as a DJ was that first time we were out in public. Before that we were just, some creepy guy who had a big radio or a big music collection.
You were the creepy guy.
Well, yeah, I was the creepy guy who, had way too much music, and I played it a little bit too loud, and I played it too often, and people were wondering what kind of satanic thing I was trying to call down upon the world.
Well, actually, I did an intern with KDWB and WLOL for a little while, but it just wasn't for me. I couldn't do radio.
Mm-hmm. Which are both of those, I think, were top 40 stations at the time. Yeah.
and just to put a little disclaimer on mine, I actually had to push the play button on mine.
You were back in that day.
It was it was mid 90s when I got started in radio, and I actually started at midnight to 6 a.m. because they actually needed somebody in there to physically start each CD song throughout the night.
And this is tangent, Dan. Are there times you look back and you're like, God, I kind of missed it. That was kind of fun. Is that one of those types of jobs?
If I wasn't doing the mobile aspect, absolutely. Every once in a while, I do miss being on the radio and missing that aspect of it, because there were some things that were very relaxing about what I was doing and being in that atmosphere. But there's a bug that's, if you've ever been in radio, they call it catching the bug, where it's almost like this virus. You just feel like you've got to be in radio. You've got to be a part of it. And when I got out of it, it was very hard, but I had the mobile aspect. And I really think that if I didn't have that still going on, I would really struggle with it just being completely removed from my life.
Interesting. Well, MJ is putting his things together. Juan, is there some job in your past that you look back and it, not related to DJ, could be related to DJ, where you look back at it and say, that was just kind of a fun job. If I could, I missed that job.
A stripper, paint stripper. Paint stripper.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I did a warehouse for what was Dayton Hudson's, and I actually worked there 12 years, and I really liked that job. Mm-hmm. It was fun. I was a area supervisor kind of deal. Where area lead is what I was, and it was kind of like a working supervisor. It was fun. I mean, I don't know. It kept me busy. Mm-hmm. Kept me out of jail.
Stripper, paint stripper.
What's that stuff that strips paint? What's that called? Airplane? What is it?
Oh, acetone.
Turpentine?
Acetone takes a lot of that stuff off.
We made a joke about it one night where we kept trying to figure out how many times we could say it. Paint stripper or airplane, something or other. Oh, somebody in chat, please help us.
I wasn't there.
Paint stripper.
It's something to do with airplane stripper. I think it's what it was. It was called. There was a special type of stripper that strips paint, and we kept making a joke about it having two meanings.
Airplane striker?
No.
Stringers?
Gosh, I hate the fact that I reference with people that can't follow references.
No, I'm Googling it and seeing what's coming up.
Try airplane.
Aircraft stripper?
Aircraft stripper, maybe that was
That's it. Aircraft stripper. Well, it helps if you get the name right.
Son, don't make me come over there halfway through the state.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Aircraft paint stripper is all I'm finding. So yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but anyways, we got made it. See, we're getting derailed tonight.
Yeah, but let's face it. An aircraft paint stripper. How boring of a derail is that? Let's go back talking about Juan and his toothpicks.
All right, so hold on here. I got to fix something here. One of the clubs that I DJ at. It's what? Did I stop there?
All right, you know what?
I mentioned Juan and his toothpicks, and he pulls one out of somewhere. It's like.
First story club that I still DJ at from time to time.
Jimmy said it was called Dope. Would that have been it? It's called Dope.
We talked about it. It was the four of us talking about it, and we kept. It was on a Monday night, and we kept trying to think how many times we could fit the word that product in there because.
Oh, that one. Stripper juice.
Stripper juice. That's it.
Yeah, so that's something, gangs. Once in a while, when we're bored, we'll pull out a weird phrase, and we will
A product.
and we will go and see, okay, who's going to be the first one to use that phrase, which would never work if Juan was with us, because we could pick out the phrase of the night, and he'd have it in that first the first segment. It would be like gone.
So the first time I was DJing was in a nightclub. It was a strip club, and I got stripper juice all over my controllers.
See, again, it wouldn't take too much.
Sorry, I had to go there. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Stripper juice, feeling dirty.
Get you off me.
Anyways, that was it. But no, two stories. One place that I do DJ still from one time to time. They're a lounge, and they have stuff going on today when there's not DJ there. And they have an iPod plugged in, and written on the iPod is DJ iPod. So one night I posted the picture. I said, well, I guess this is my opening DJ for the night. Second one's even worse. Club I DJ'd had 4 rooms in it. And one of the rooms started getting slow. They didn't want to pay for a DJ. So they literally, I'm not kidding you, in this club that had 4 rooms of dancing, lights going crazy, they put an iPod in the room instead of a DJ. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. And I went down to take a picture of it, and I still have it. And that is what was in that room. That's what I was replaced by. Me and several other people were replaced by. So think you're special. No. We went from food to stripper juice, from food to celebrity DJs to
We're kind of all
Jon getting sick,
all over the board here.
to celebrity DJs to stripper juice to iPods. What is left for us?
Let's see. We got to talk about photographers. We're going to do a quick little thing about that, because I think, Dan, you said this past weekend it was an experience you have, and I had my wedding a couple of weeks ago. It was
sorry. Someone just wrote in the notes next week's topic: how to stay on topic.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Well, so
It ain't gonna happen.
I won't be here, so yeah, it could happen. It could.
Photographers, Jon.
So
go.
photographers, a lot of us have had that where we get our systems and everything all nice and set up and such, and then they come in and just drop their gear. Sometimes they'll say, hey, can I put my gear here? Thump. Sure. And sometimes, most of the time, it's just an assumed that they're going to bring their gear and it's going to be stuck next to your speaker stand or next to your table. Probably the worst I had was a photographer who set it in my walkway by my table. So I had to step over her gear because that's where she could get an outlet and she could stretch it that most. So she would have to come behind my table. It's like, seriously, any wall in the room would be better than this. So thoughts of what could a person do? What have you guys done? I've done a few things that have helped us tremendously, but what are some things that you guys have done or you've seen to help with that situation?
I say no. Like mine is both the table and the DJ booth, and I absolutely positively say no. I'm sorry. This is where I work. This is my desk, my office. I will not be responsible for anything left here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played the nice card in the past, and because I used to have a setup where it was on my setup was on a stand. It was vertical. I had everything kind of hidden behind it, and the venue always gave me a table that was skirted, so it was behind me, and that's where I set my CDs. And I say, you're welcome to use any of the space underneath. I'm just not responsible for it, and that was nice. This weekend, I was in a barn setup, and I'm trying to find the video that I have, but she just comes in, plops it in front of my table. And that was irk number one, that fact that it was in front of everything. And then every time she decided to take a picture, she had out like this umbrella flash strobe that she wanted. So she would hold on to this and take a picture with this standing in front of me. Like there's pillars that she could stand in front of. There's all other parts of the room that she could stand in front of. Stood right in front of me. And I had my GoPro going almost the whole night, and I'm just like, I've got barely any footage I can use tonight that's not her
backside, yeah.
Had to.
There was a photographer that used to do the same thing to me. So what I started to do is I grabbed a selfie stick, put my phone on there, and pretend like I was doing video. And she would never stand in front of me because then she's like a little mutual respect a little bit. So that was what I did to help her stop from doing that.
Genius one. That's perfect.
The funny thing was, multiple times I grabbed my GoPro. Even one time I set it like on my thing right in front of the laptop when she looked at me. And it was almost like she just didn't care. So yeah, there was a couple things that night that I just was like, what am I working with here?
Yeah, for sure.
That's when you go and get the bouncer. Oh, wait, you can't do that in a wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Security, get this person on. What I've done, there's a couple of venues that I perform that I know it's going to happen because I've got the only, quote, safe spot from the kids. And what I've gotten to the point of I'll do is I'll actually go and I will have a corner that I will run an extension cord because all the cords have to come up from under the stage. I will have an outlet strip back there that is for them because that helps to direct their gear towards that plug-in. It's behind, it's out of the way, it's hidden, they can access it, and life is good. The second thing I will do, so I don't have the issue what Dan was mentioning, is if I've got that stage in that same venue, I will leave about a 3-foot spot open up there that will be their side. So if I'm going to be doing my MC things, I go to the right. If they're going to be up there to take pictures of the dance floor, they can go to the left opening. And that one's yours. I left that one for you. There's no lights that come on because when I'm speaking, I generally turn some kind of floodlights on me so that people can see what I'm, catch the attention. So space in back, space in front. If I can't do the space in front, well, that's no big deal. But I generally, with most venues, try to have a cord dedicated and tell them when I first see them that I have a spot for you if you want to plug in. So that way I don't get those camera bags over by the speaker stands. I hate that.
I think exactly what you touched on is a great opportunity to kind of diffuse it if you can, which is just to say, hey, I've got a spot for you if you want to use it. So they don't, because either A, they're going to use that spot or they're going to go somewhere else that's not anywhere near you, not necessarily using the spot. And that with me and what I had with that one, it was like right next to the dance floor. So I really think she just thought, well, this is the only place I can put it. And every time I went to go say something to her, that's when she would decide to move something like a piece. And I'm like, oh wait, but now it's back in another spot.
Yeah. One of those unfortunate parts of the job. That it is. Well, gentlemen, I think it's time for us to wrap things up. We have been on for a little bit over our half-hour time allotment tonight.
Well, our show's only a half hour long.
We've always go an hour at least.
What the heck? We have almost no way you're going to fit these 4 heads, 5 if you consider Shady, into a blocked half hour of crap. No.
Well, right, I'm going on another tangent. Then I'm commandeering. I've got a problem with the fact that we call ourselves disc jockeys and none of us are playing CDs. None of us are playing discs. We're playing vinyl. We're playing digital tracks.
The circular motion of the digital representation on the screen then becomes a disc.
Did he say circular motion, Juan?
Stripper juice.
No, I said
the motion of the ocean.
I said circular representation.
Oh, I thought he said circular motion.
I heard stripper juice.
I wasn't sure.
I had to bring that back. I'm so sorry, everyone who really doesn't care the fact that we say things like we do. And if you've tuned in tonight to actually get some proper DJ education, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, we had a moment there somewhere.
We had some stuff. Our show is partially entertainment. That's the thing that you have to keep in mind. That some of the other guys, like if you watched any of the other shows that were on before us, they're bringing some serious knowledge about everything you can imagine. So we do too, but we're a little bit more fun.
Yeah,
I don't want to sound like they're not fun, but you know what I mean.
We're off the cuff.
Yeah,
we're
there you go.
Structured.
Exactly. After three more formal, we get a little silly here.
Night's off topic. We can blame to John's drugs from his operation.
Exactly. That's right. I'm still on. There's this cool thing called Percocet. Psst. Man, I didn't know that fun stuff existed. Actually, we should almost circle back to that, because one of the things we didn't hit. We were going to talk about what a person could do, because there's some things that, if we've got a cold, we can med up. If we're running a fever, again, we can med, and we can be alternating between Tylenol and what have you. If you had an acute appendicitis, you know what I'm talking about. There's just some things that, heart attack, stroke. There's just some things that you cannot go forward with, because an appendix, once it's showing signs, it could be within 6 hours of rupturing. It could have already ruptured, or it could be, within, the most is probably going to be about maybe 48 hours of rupturing. So for those, I've been one that, I can always power through everything. Well, you know what? If I'd have had a show Saturday night, there was absolutely no way. I could have. Friday night, for surely, I was out. Saturday, I couldn't have. Sunday, I probably could have maybe sat and done something, but it's one of those things that, you gotta have a plan, whether that's a person you network with. Juan, a lot of DJs down in the St. Paul area. You could give a call to a few, find somebody.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff we've got to do. I mean, MJ, you're kind of how would you, in your situation?
That's one of the blessings. Not every city is like it is, but here where I live, we have a lot of DJs that really do help each other out. And I probably owe more people anything from, calling, hey, are you available on such and such a day to do a gig? So just like that, there are people I could call and say, because I had a friend of mine not too long ago that had a hard drive that crashed, and he called me, and I was actually in another county, and I'm like, call so-and-so that he didn't even know, and just placing people on the list. So there's people we can call. I've done the sick thing, running a temperature, all that. But that is the blessing of what we do, is that I do know I have people that I could call in a pinch, in an emergency, that can fill in. So
yeah.
And it's also in my contract. Keep in mind that I do have it in the contract that due to illness, hospitalization, that's in the contract. So if I get sick, I'm not going to be sued by them.
Yeah, and in my case, my backup plan, I've got some DJ friends, and they have had to fill in, not for a sickness or something to that effect, but they've filled in for me due to something that else came up. But I mean, I've got kind of a built-in situation with Lori, who she DJ'd for 15 years. I mean, she would be rusty, but she could perform. So I mean, there's definitely backup. But somebody mentioned that Matt, I think it was, that he has a partner at every gig. There's times where I can definitely see having two people would definitely be attractive. I think there's going to be events though, like at a wedding I did back in March, that if I had two people, I mean, I was bored out of my mind after the first 2 hours. I can't imagine, it would be too easy for us to start going off on our own tangents and entertaining each other than to be working with the crowd. And that's one. I've had
multiple nights when I've opened for other DJs where they say, hey, stick around just in case something happens,
Yeah.
I know one, I remember hearing this at an expo a couple of years ago of a multi-op company that actually makes sure that one of their guys, they pay him to do this, but one of their guys is their on-call guy. They will not book, and rotates every week. A different guy is the on-call guy that, if something happens, they're out the door and on the way to the event. Any of you are multi-ops, that right there alone, I think would be worth, it would save having to do the partner thing and running into like what John's talking about, but yet still have that kind of built-in safe zone, I guess, if you will, to help you.
We did. That's when we had our 16 systems we ran out here. That's how we handled it. Is every week we had one person who was basically off, and there was a sound system back at the office. And if they needed to, they could get here, pick up the sound system, and off they go. Worked wonderfully for us until one week I found out that the person who was off and being paid was, I think, completely drunk by 6 o'clock in the evening or something to that effect. And not that we needed him that night, but I found out through the grapevine is that they were supposed to be on call. And I don't mind if they're at a party, somewhere within range of the office to do their things, but to be out of commission was uncool. So, but that was a management living and learning. So, yeah, keeps you company.
How's that half hour working out for you, John?
Yeah, we're just about ready to get to that half hour time point now. So,
we got a half an hour left. Okay,
yeah.
I got more stuff to talk about. You know me.
Well, I'm out of my topics for tonight, and we're at about we're out at about almost an hour here. So, for those of you watching, thank you guys for watching. We will be back again tomorrow night with the music shows with Brian Red, and we'll be back. No, we won't be back next Monday. It is 4th of July. We are off for taking a week off, so we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Good to know. I didn't realize.
Yeah. The summer's moving along so quickly. So
What am I going to do with my hour on Monday night?
Yeah.
You don't have any 4th of July events?
I actually, a friend of mine, since we were kids in high school, his parents' house is like, I don't know, 200 yards from where the local park puts on their 4th of July display. And we've always went there for 4th of July, play basketball, eat food, and then literally stand in the driveway and look straight up and watch the fireworks.
Nice.
So it would be that, or I'm going up in the mountains and ride the motorcycle. I haven't decided which yet.
Or do both. It all can happen. So good stuff. Yeah, we're going to have some family time next week, and then we'll be back then on the 11th with more educational material. MJ, you just went serious, so it must mean that you have a photo to share.
Ooh.
I don't know. MJ all of a sudden had that look like he was going to share a photo.
Ian posted, our show rocks. So I'm that's right, Ian. 1 hour.
I just hope you all come back not looking like this after the 4th of July. DJ Three Fingers.
Yeah.
I have a friend in the city who has not use of one arm, and he actually goes by DJ Left Side. Hey, anything can be done.
It can, and it's better for him to laugh with it than yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Sorry, I derailed again.
Yeah, that's quite all right. So we're looking forward to some time off next Monday with the children, and hopefully a good, healthy weekend, because we were supposed to be camping this weekend, and the kids are still kind of bummed about that. They're like, "Are we going to be able to make that up?" It's like, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. So. Very good. Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you then in 2 weeks or tomorrow night with the music show. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.